Hi, everybody. My name is Wendy Glenn, and I am a homeschool mom of three.
And I'm Jennifer Cole, homeschool mom of one.
And we would like to welcome everybody back. Hopefully, you've seen one of our videos before. If not, welcome. And I hope you enjoy our video today. We are talking about when to school and when to take a break. But before we get started, I have to just give a little update, a little announcement. If you've watched any of our other videos, we've kind of been going along the journey of my oldest son who is going to be graduating high school this year, uh, going off to college in the homeschool journey of actually going to college, right? So it's all new to me. I've never had a child that has homeschooled and gone off to college. And I have to say, I have talked to lots of other people who have actually even gone to public school and then gone to college. And we have a local college here who sometimes isn't the best at accepting credits from other schools and things like that. But my son has chosen to go to Nacogdoches, Texas, for school to Stephen F. Austin University, and we were up there the other day, and we found out that they are actually taking all 60 credits that he earned going to our local community college because he graduated in December with his associate's degree. And they're going to take all 60 of those credits and put them towards his bachelor's degree. So he will be going up there as a freshman out of high school and as a junior. It's a little complicated, but he gets all the perks of being a freshman and all the perks of being a junior, right? So it's literally the best of both worlds. And it was so simple. Like I said, it was so simple. We went up there and I was expecting not all his credits to transfer. He and I had the conversations. Not all your credits are going to transfer. I thought I knew this, right? I knew this because I had tried to go to our local university from my 2 year college back 20 years ago when I moved down here, and they weren't going to accept all of my credits, right? So I just assumed I knew that all colleges were like this, and absolutely not. So it will hopefully you guys will, once you kids get to this part, get up here to going on to college, that hopefully you actually shop around maybe even a few different colleges, because yes, they took all 60 of his credits without um without anything, without us having to say a word. We just went up there and they're like, okay, you have 60 credits.
Yeah,
It was a
no
great
argument. It's
experience.
wonderful.
It
I
was a
saw
great
him
experience.
today and I told him, congratulations, all your credits are transferring. And he was very proud.
Yes. Yeah, I know, right? It was like I am so like team SFA, right? Stephen F.
Mm,
Austin, this is where I'm at because it's been a great experience. I'm not saying everybody's going to have a great experience there, but our experience so far, just getting him there and transferring him there has been wonderful.
yeah.
So I've already told my other kids, you're going.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
where
and
you're
I'm
going.
excited for him. He's young, so he doesn't really know like what he wants to do or where he wants to go. And this is the first thing where I've actually seen in his face that he is like proud of his accomplishments and excited about something he's going to do. So I'm really happy for him. That's awesome.
Yes. And like I said, I'm all for team SFA. Like that's where all my kids are going now because it has been I have heard a lot of, some negative things about our some other colleges in the area. So I'm all for going where it's easy. It's like they took our homeschool transcript, right? They took my his high school transcript, super easy. They've done everything. They contacted the college, got his official transcript for his associate's degree, and everything has been really easy on that front. Yes, there's been hiccups, but everything's been where it should be. It's been super easy. All right. So now let's get into when to take a break and when to school. When do you
Yes.
take breaks, Jennifer?
Well, we school year round.
Yes.
So there's a couple of times where I take consistent breaks all the time, which is Thanksgiving and Christmas. We really, from the middle of November until after New Year's, we just really don't do much school because his head's not in it. he's busy thinking about holidays and everything that's going on, and there's so much excitement. So we really don't do much of anything from Thanksgiving until New Year's. So that's kind of our summer break, so to speak, right? Um, I might do something in a little bit in December, in the beginning of December. But even then, like I have holiday parties for my company. My husband has events. So it's just not good timing for us. We have a lot of things going on those months. So that is our regularly scheduled break. Aside from that, there's about two other times that we take breaks. After we've completed a large section of curriculum, we always take a break, right? All right, we've completed seventh grade. We're taking a break. We'll take a month, you know. But even then, we found that taking a month is a lot. Like we lose a lot of good habits by taking a month. So this time what we did is we took 2 weeks and then we did more schooling and then we took 2 more weeks. And then now we're doing electives. We're taking like a curriculum break from the main part of our curriculum and we're doing electives for 2 or 3 months. And that'll give us kind of a break, but we're still doing things that count. And then the other time we take a break is when we have a meltdown and things just go off the rails. And, we haven't decided if we're going to break something or hurt somebody. But before any of that happens, we just go, you know what? Today is not the day. It's not. And sometimes it's just not the day. And you just turn everything off and be like, you know what? That's it. Just go have ice cream. We're done.
Oh, absolutely. I am all for the ice cream days. I would have a meltdown every day if that's all it took to have ice cream. Now, for
So,
us,
yeah.
Jennifer is super nice to her son and gives all kinds of breaks. I am not that nice, Mom. We homeschool year round and we do take breaks. We absolutely do. And I will say this too, because, as we've said in other videos, I do have a homeschool group and I am at every single event. That being said, we do take lots of breaks. We do not school, I guess, as many days a week as most people would, or we have a lot of half days where we only get some things done. At least for my older son, or I guess my middle child now. Well, he's about to be my older son. I'm already preparing. He's my older son, but no, my middle child, who's in sixth grade. There are days when we are, have park days or like today where he didn't get a whole lot of done. The younger kids actually got pretty much a full day because the younger they are, the less time they take. And depending on what curriculum you're using, so I use a hodgepodge of curriculums for the younger kids. I do, and we do take curriculum breaks. Like I have a core set of hodgepodge things that I do, but recently I put all of that aside and we did what I called a curriculum break. And I just found the same subjects, but in other places. And we did that. So we've done a curriculum break recently and it worked because I think homeschooling, you're learning as much as your children are, right? You have to learn what works for them, what doesn't work for them, what they need, what they don't need, and what you like about different curriculums and what you don't like. So Jennifer looks through the curriculum. I do know this. And if it's a repeat of if they're basically learning the same thing over, she skips it, right?
Hmm.
I have learned that we have a very I guess what people call a dry math curriculum, and it's a lot, right? It's a little bit advanced. It teaches in a different way. It teaches in a way that almost makes it a little bit harder, even though it's an easy problem. They teach it to the children in a way that it makes it harder, right? Um, Missing numbers in different places, things like that. So they're teaching in reverse and forward at the same time. I have learned through this last curriculum break that, you know what, I can look at the next lesson that we're supposed to do, and I will solve problems. Like, you do not have to do this whole thing.
Hmm.
And I will cross out problems and then I'll say, you know what? however it is easier for you to get your answer, do that. Like if it's telling you to do it this way, you do not have to do it that way. Just do it however is easy. I will teach them all the different ways, especially for math. There's so many different ways that they try and get kids to learn math these days. Um, I will teach them how I do it. We will go over how the book does it, and then I just let them go, okay, this is how I do it. So this is how I'm going to do it. Just do it and give me the right answer. Sometimes I make them show their work. Like, I want to know how you got that answer, but you don't have to do it the way the book tells you you have to do it, if that makes sense, right?
That's
We do
why I
that.
like doing time for learning because I found like, so they'll teach you like, okay, there's like three different ways to do this problem. So like, you can do it like this, or like this. And I'll watch them. And then I would tell Orion, like, okay, this is how I do it, and give him like the secret, right? Sure enough, the next lesson, they go over and go, oh, so the faster way to do it is like this. And it'll be exactly what I just told him. And I've been amazed by them doing that quite a few times,
Mhm.
not making the kids do the hard way. Like they actually teach them the shortcuts. And I'm like, "Ah, so good. I love that."
Yes. But now, like Jennifer said earlier, when she takes her breaks, I know if we are going through a traveling time, we have travel times where my family travels, and when we have times where we don't. I know when we like to take our vacations when everybody else is at school. So my son's birthday is in the beginning of September. Everybody's in school. That's usually when we take our vacations, right? We're like, hey,
Hmm.
everybody's in school, everybody's at work. Let's take a vacation, basically off season, right? So we're going to be able to go see and do all the things, and we're going to be able to do those things while everybody else is at school. So it's not going to be overly packed, right? Jennifer likes to go to Florida. She likes
Universal.
to go to
Universal.
Universal and Disney and stuff.
September and
In what
October
September and October.
are really great
Yes.
times. And then the other two good times are January and February.
Yes. Yes. So, and again, when you homeschool, you make the rules. So you can do that whenever you want. You can make
Mhm.
the vacation plans. You can, again, you can do all these things, and it makes life so much easier. You can choose to do a 4 day a week schedule,
We did that for a
right?
long time.
And then just have all those extra days off. Um, I help a friend homeschool her kids, and they do a 4 day a week, right? They have
Hmm.
some other stuff that they're supposed to do at home, but we do 4 days with them. My kids, they do 6 days. Like, again, I'm that mean mom.
She's the school Nazi.
Not always, but when we have stuff that has to get done, we have our co-ops, which we've discussed in other videos. So when we have stuff that has to get done for co-op, like, my son has a paper that he has to write. If it's not done during the week, guess what? Yes, he has to do it on Saturdays. And if it's not done on Saturday and we have co-op on Monday, guess what? He's doing it on Sunday
That's true.
too.
That's true. Yeah. Well, and the other thing is we did 4 day weeks very easily in elementary school. And then
Yes.
once we got to middle school and we added electives, then, oh, well, now we have to do that elective on Friday, right? Because we would have all the other subjects during the week. And then Friday was kind of our bonus day. Also for you, like you are at every single thing. So like Park Day on Thursday, Urban Air on Friday. If I went to every single one of those things too, my kid would certainly be doing some school on Saturday because there'd be no time to do all of those activities, especially with me working and trying to work and not babysit him doing schoolwork. So the more extracurricular activities you have throughout the week, the more likely it is you're going to have to use one of those days on the weekend to do schoolwork as well.
Yes, yes. And well, you just actually brought up another good point. So Jennifer works full time. I mean, she does work from home, but she does work full time. So she has to teach around her work schedule, right? And that's the other great thing about all of this is you can do school whenever. A lot of people are like, "Oh, I don't have the time to homeschool. I work full time. Do you have a couple hours in the evening?" You
Yeah.
can leave work for your child as long as they're old enough to be home alone. Or, like I said, Jennifer works from home. So, her child can actually be with her. but you can set a couple hours aside to actually go over things or give them their assignments, especially for some curriculums where it's more hands off for you. So you just assign the work, they watch videos, do the work online, or do their workbooks or whatever it is. And, um, they can do that at 8 o'clock at night. Who says
Yeah.
they have to be up at 7 o'clock to do homework or to
Well,
do
that's the other
schoolwork?
thing is that, well, for him, he gets up at like 10 in the morning. But we were doing math on Saturdays for a while just because he needed my help with some of it. And that was the day that I had in the morning. So, and he works better in the morning. Kids do. They get tired at night too. So, Saturday morning, that's when we did math. It was, and we just had another day off, like whatever day you want is going to be your day off this week, and then
Wednesday's always good, right?
yeah, whatever day. And then we would do that, and that would help with me. But now with me working, and he's older now, and so he doesn't really need my help. Like I don't have to. He's going to be 13. He doesn't need me to sit next to him for every single subject. So I give him incentives for finishing things before I'm done with work. So I'm like, okay, well, you'll get 30 minutes extra screen time if you finish your schoolwork before lunch. You get another 30 minutes if you're finished before I'm done with work. So it gives them kind of two goals. If you can really get up in the morning and get it done before lunch, you get a bonus. And if it's done before I'm done with work, well, then you get a bonus. If you do extra schoolwork, because I allow them to have that option, like you do extra assignments, you get 30 minutes more of your game time. So I have bonus ways for him to earn his screen times by doing his schoolwork more effectively. Because his problem is he'll just mess around and I'm not there watching him to go, okay, well, you need to focus. You need to focus. So he needs some sort of incentive to be motivated on his own. So that's what we do.
Another great thing and another great way to work around things, right? Like,
Hmm.
again, I I never thought homeschool was going to be like this. I came from public school myself, so I thought that your kid had to get up and they were going to be doing 7 hours sitting at a table, and you had to be right there, being their teacher the whole time. And diving into this has been an eye-opening experience and a great experience because I have learned that one, no, you don't have to be right there all the time unless your child is one of those kids that needs that, right? There are kids that do need that. My daughter is sometimes, depending on the day, is one of those kids. Some days she wants to check her every single answer on math, right? When she's doing her math, she'll be like, is this how I do it? Each step she has to go through. Is this how I do it? Is this how I do it? And I'm like trying not to pull my own hair out because we've been doing the same kind of math, for 4 months now, and she's still sitting there. Or then there's other days where she's like, no, I'm good, and she does the whole thing herself and still, and gets 100 on it. It depends on the child. It depends sometimes on the day how much you do have to be there. But the older they get, the more independent they get, and they get to
Hmm.
learn how to learn. So they learn how to look things up, they learn how to do things themselves. And usually, I've been told from a lot of other people, but usually by about fourth to fifth grade, definitely by sixth grade, you should just be able to give them their assignments and
Hmm.
help them when they get stuck, help them on occasion, help them do some things. But a lot of things, depending on the child, again, they should be able to do some of those things pretty independently.
Yeah. Well, and I just tell Orion, like, if you get stuck, stop where you're at, move on to another lesson. And then when I'm done with my meetings or whatever I'm doing for work, I'll stop and come up and sit down with you and we'll figure it out. And there's been times where we are sitting here at 10 o'clock at night doing math, but he doesn't go to bed early, he's a night owl. So he doesn't want to go to bed until 12 or 12:30. So fine. Sometimes I'm busy at work and he doesn't feel like doing it during the day and he needs my help. And, so maybe it's 10 and we're doing math, but it's fine,
And that's okay. That's
Yeah.
that's how I guess that's how we all roll, right? Again, some people, do school on weekends and other things. And uh my son was somewhere with my in-laws and someone asked him if he was ready for summer vacation and he was like, I don't get summer vacation. I'm homeschooled. Like,
Uh, well,
oh,
there is a transition of extracurricular activities, right? So maybe less indoor and more outdoor. So we can go swimming instead of being stuck
yes.
inside the trampoline park or, that sort of thing. There's more
And
outdoor
we
activities.
do switch it up. We all switch it up a little bit. Like I said, we'll stop doing park days in the summer because we live in Texas and it's super hot. Nobody wants to be outside in 115 or 120-degree weather, right? Um, Nobody. So we don't obviously go to parks in the summer, and we have
Inside bowling.
inside bowling. Someone has a pool like Jennifer, and
Swimming.
sometimes some summers we'll go to Jennifer's house. Some summers, if she's busy, it doesn't happen as much, but we'll find something else to do, right? Or we do the trampoline park on a different day, on a slow day in the morning, right? When it's not as busy, because it gets very, very busy in there, especially on weekends. A lot of people have sworn that place off because
Mm,
kids get hurt on the weekends because it's
mhm.
overcrowded and the kids are running crazy. We like to go when there's hardly anybody there.
Yes. So, some people school like year round and some people follow the school calendar,
Oh, yes.
but a lot of the public places that you go, especially if they have like a homeschool day, they follow the school calendar. So summertime
Hmm.
comes and now you're part of the general public. And it's when you get spoiled with all the homeschool days, general public is
Right?
not good. We
No,
we want to avoid general public, which is why we
exactly.
vacation. Like the minute everyone goes back to school, it's like, okay, it's time to take our summer vacation, right? Because you don't want to go in the summer when everyone's off. No way.
Exactly. Well, I want to touch too, though, on a little bit like we did talk about it. We've touched it on it in other videos, and I want to touch again on this video. We've mentioned it. Every kid has their off days, every kid has their breakdown days, and it is okay when your child is having one of those days to, again, step back, stop, and guess what? It's time to take a break, right?
Yes.
And don't kick yourself, don't beat yourself up because your child needs a break. Now, if it becomes every single day, you might have to figure out why. We've talked about this in other videos, about
Mhm.
looking at the curriculum, looking at what you're doing, all those types of things. But you can also, again, homeschooling, you can give your child that day, right? That break, that time to just go have their meltdown in their room or whatever. And
Yeah.
don't be, oh my gosh, I have to do this or I have to do that. I know in some states you do have to keep attendance, right? You do have to do these things. So just, again, there's still usually, even in most of those other states, there's nothing saying you can't do it on a Saturday,
Yeah.
or another day.
If today is the day to sit with your phone underneath a blanket on the bed all day, then that's what that day is. Just let it be that day. I mean, I'm
I
not
know.
going to force it. Look, even if you try to force your kid to sit in front of the computer or sit in front of a paper and you want to force them to learn, it's first of all, it's not going to happen. They're not going to learn. You can't force them. Like they have to be an active participant in the learning process. So that's not going to work. And then you're going to make the whole experience not fun anymore. And I've actually sat down with my own kid and been like, look, you are ruining this experience. Like, you are making this not fun anymore. So I'm done for today. Like, because I'm not having any fun. So I've literally tapped myself out. Like, no, you know what? I'm not. We're done. Like, I'm done because this is supposed to be fun. It is learning and it is important and but it also is supposed to be fun for everybody. Now, I know sometimes, like fifth grade fractions are not fun for anybody, but it shouldn't be torture. It shouldn't be miserable. There shouldn't be crying, screaming, throwing things, whatever. Things like that happen if you try to push your kids into something they're just not ready for. And like Wendy said, this cannot be every day. If it is, then maybe we need to involve the therapist and come up with some positive reinforcement, but
A
if there's
different
this
curriculum,
different curriculum, and all of
different
those
style of
things,
learning.
yeah, they all come into play to help make this a positive, fun experience. But still, with all those things, there's going to be days where you're just like, no, it's just not. It's not the day.
Or like Jennifer, this just happened. How much did you get done in the last couple of weeks when you
Hmm.
all had the flu going around your
Everybody
house?
surprisingly got the flu, right? So my boss got the flu, and then my husband got the flu, and then my son got the flu, and then I got the flu. So that was like a week and a half of nothing. And it was funny because I was going to have him start doing some stuff at the end of the week, right? And I still feel terrible. So I'm like, go do some schoolwork. My husband's like, what are you doing? Like, seriously, he's still getting better too. Like, this is why we homeschool. Like, go click on there and take the week off. Like, that's it. So, and I did. I just rearranged all of our schoolwork. I dropped our finish date back by 2 weeks, and I went, you know what? We were sick, and there's nothing to do about that. Um, the only benefit of being sick here is that I don't have to worry about summer school because if we had missed 2 weeks of actual school this late in the year, they'd be saying, oh, you're going to have to go to summer session. So then there goes your whole summer shot too. And you're not even learning anything new. It's just the same thing you learned last year. It's so dumb.
Hmm.
So, yep. So, and it happens. So we just resigned ourselves to being sick, tried to get better, relax. Um, my little buddy was next to me in the bed for 3 days, and that was just the way it went, you know?
It
But
was
it's
time
nice.
to take a break,
It was,
apparently.
yeah, well, I didn't have a
Your
choice.
body made you take a break.
It was awful. It was really bad. Flu A, not a good one. Um, but yeah, at least we have the luxury of being able to do that and take that break, you know. And then,
And I,
having that I work from home, thank goodness.
yeah,
My
yes.
boss was like, hey, just, get better. Don't worry
I
about
have
it.
seen I have seen on Facebook where people are complaining, the public school system, oh, well, my kid is sick and they've been to the doctor and I have all these notes, but they're only going to accept these notes and not these notes. And,
Hmm.
now they've missed too many days and it's a lot, right? But you don't have to beat yourself up over that. Again, when you homeschool, like just calm down, take a deep breath and go, especially here in Texas. I like, I I would never homeschool anywhere else but in Texas. I love how lax it is, at least for right now. Hopefully, it stays this way. I've been watching
Hopefully.
all the bills and everything that they're trying to push through, um, and all the different rules and stuff. Nothing will hopefully change, at least not for a few years, even if this bill does come through for us. But
Yeah, I
I've
don't
always
think
told my
it'll
husband,
affect our older, like mine or
no,
your older
yeah,
one. I think
no,
it's the
yes.
littles that we need to
It
worry
would
about.
definitely be the littler ones if there is any effect. But I've also seen where they're trying to pass a bill that it'll never be able to affect us, which would be great, right?
That would be
Um,
amazing.
yes.
Well,
But
and my
anyway,
grandson's going to be a little
yes, yes.
soon, and
And I have
I'm
great
not
nieces
really,
and nephews and stuff too coming up.
yeah, and I'm not
But
really
hopefully
sure.
that hopefully they can get all of that worked out so that we are safe and don't have to deal with it. But again, we are in Texas. I don't think I could homeschool my kid in any other state other than Texas because our laws are so lax. And people will say things about, well, if it's so lax, then what are your kids really learning? But I'm surprised every day at what my kids are learning by being home. And there's so many other ways to teach your kids, even when you do have one of those days where you take a break or or have a breakdown, or you do a family trip, right? You can learn doing on a family trip, right? Doing something somewhere else, right?
Well,
You can do all these things in homeschool and not beat yourself up about it. I think that's one of the main things that Jennifer and I want to really hit home with everybody. Don't beat yourself up. You don't have
right.
to be perfect. Your kids have to know how to read, do math, right? Spelling, grammar, those
You're
those
not
things
going to
that you have to teach.
be,
How to be a good person. My
yeah.
kids did that this weekend. The mayor here in our town has a annual mayor cleanup. So we go down to the main street in our town and everybody gets trash bags and gloves and cleans up. Well, that's what we did. That's what myself and my kids and my husband, that's what we did this weekend. That's school.
It is. And learning community service and learning how to give back is very important. And I mean,
Exactly.
that's literally. they tell you that you have to teach your child good citizenship. And that's
Yes,
like
and
the
that was it.
epitome of good citizenship, right? Going out there
Exactly.
and picking up everybody's trash. Like that's
Exactly.
amazing.
And that's what we did this weekend. So we
Yeah.
we schooled on Saturday this past week, and it was
Mhm.
picking up trash.
Yeah. Well, that's an important thing too, learning how to give back. Um, my son's taking uh, strategies for academic success right now. That's his one of his electives, and lifetime fitness. But he's really strategies for academic success is not as easy as it sounds. Like he does very well in school, but his strategies aren't the same as everybody else's because he's got a super brain, right? So with the ASD, his brain just works so much differently than a regular human. So trying to learn how other humans learn is really hard for him. So he's like, the irony of the fact that I'm struggling with this class because it teaches you how to do school. And he's like, I don't feel like I'm doing so good, but I do good in school.
Oh,
So the irony.
yeah. Yeah, poor kid.
Yep. Not going to be it. He's doing
Just
really great
just
at
let him
lifetime
learn the
fitness.
way he learns, Jennifer. Just let him learn the way he
I
learns.
know. I was like, here, take this class on how to learn. And he's like, oh, no. Yes, this is how to
I
be
can't learn that
neurotypical. I'm
way.
not good at that. Oh, man. So, okay. Is there anything else that we are leaving out, you think?
I
I
don't
don't think
know.
so. Um, yeah. Just yeah, you're not going to be perfect. They're not going to be perfect. You're not going to be the perfect
Take
parent. You're
breaks.
not going to be the perfect teacher. You're not going to be the perfect anything all the time. Just, do the best you can and give yourself space to make mistakes. Give yourself room to do the
Give
wrong
yourself
thing.
grace.
Yeah, because I told Orion today, I said, we need to do a lot more practicing decision making, right? Because a lot of times I'll ask him something. He goes, I don't know. Well, no, just make a decision because the decisions you make with me are safe. You can make mistakes, and it's a safe place to do that. So let's make some mistakes. Let's make some decisions, good ones, bad ones, whatever. We're going to practice making decisions, and it's okay if they're the wrong ones. It's going to happen. It's way harder if you practice that when you're
In the
35.
real world. Yeah.
You should practice that when you're 12. So that's what we're going to do.
Can I come over? Can we practice on how to make good decisions?
I
What
keep
to put in the
trying to help you
microwave?
with that. I
What to put in the microwave? What not
call
to put in the
me.
microwave?
And I always say, just send me a message and say, I'm
You
thinking
were
about
here
doing
that
this.
day. In my defense, you were here that day.
And nobody asked me. And I was in the other room. And, there's no stupid questions. There's just stupid people. No, I don't know. There's just, the only bad question is the one you didn't ask.
Instruction said, how it
Um,
happened was the instruction said,
Microwave crayons? I don't know. I was there and I just smelled this bad smell and I got up and I was like, what is happening? And then it was too late. Um, so before you do anything, if you're not sure whether you should do it or not, then you should definitely, put a comment in the comment section. I'm thinking about doing this, and
ask
I
Jennifer.
will I will tell you if it's a good or a bad idea because trust me, I know. Oh man.
Well, I think we are done, right? Take
Yeah.
lots of breaks. Don't take breaks. It doesn't, I say it doesn't matter. Just do what you feel is necessary. Remember, we've talked about this before. You don't have to finish all the curriculum every year. Just make sure they have a general understanding and knowledge of the stuff they're supposed to learn within that curriculum, right? You can skip around, you can do all the things, you can take breaks, you can not take breaks, you can 4 days a week, you can 6 days a week,
Whatever you want.
you
Schools only usually
whatever.
finish 70 to 80% of their curriculums, right? They don't do all of it either. So, I mean, you're not doing anything different than a public school does. Not like they're doing so great. I mean, but they don't finish. And I'll
No.
tell you, we have finished a lot of our curriculums. because we just take a little bit longer, we take a little more time. And that's what has actually facilitated us to be able to skip things because I will finish a curriculum like to completion, all of it. But then it turns out the next year is review. You know, if you look, fifth grade has a lot of really new material in it. It's fractions, it's really new stuff. Sixth grade is a lot of review. And I don't know if it's because sixth grade is a huge transition into middle school and kids just, there's a lot of things happening in your life at that time. Um, that sixth grade is just a lot of review. So we skipped a lot of stuff in sixth grade. You know, we did a lot, we skipped a lot. Seventh grade, lots of new material. So we did like full curriculums for seventh grade, tons. We spent probably an extra 3 months just on seventh grade curriculum because there was so much. Went to eighth grade, not a whole lot of new stuff there. Everyone's getting ready to go to high school, not a lot of new. Um, then high school curriculum, that's all the new stuff. So that's where everything is, right? So that's that's why I look at everything and we, you know, some things we will finish and then some things we just skip because it's a repeat. And you want to talk about meltdowns? Have my kid repeat a class.
Which we've done in a previous video, why we're doing college, right? This year.
This is why we're doing college because there's no, like, if he had to do all those classes for high school and then repeat them in college, he would be like, this is stupid.
Nope.
I'm out. And he
Nope.
would just get up and walk away. That'd be it. He'd be like, I'm done. Like, I've already done this. Um, so yeah.
So break when you want, change curriculum when you want. You homeschool, you do what you want, right? Is that what we say? We're
Yeah.
homeschoolers. We do what we want
Do what we
anyway.
want. Yeah.
Just make sure your kids are learning, make sure they're growing, and make sure they're learning again the basics, reading, writing, math, grammar, spelling, the things that they need in life, right? Throw some science in there. And as Reese was saying today, my middle child, he was saying, all science is math anyway.
Oh, I love that. It's so
Throw in
true.
some history, right? Throw in all the
Yeah, but
things.
yeah,
They've got
mostly
to know
math.
some important events, how not to blow things up, always important ish. I mean, some
Absolutely.
kids like to do that.
Yes.
And ask Jennifer before you put stuff in your microwave, even if the instructions tell you to.
I kind of feel like before you are going to do anything that you feel like it might be questionable, like if you even get that little like inkling of like, maybe I shouldn't do this, call
Well,
me.
I've done crayons in the oven before. You melt them down and make other crayons. Done that before.
Why
And
are
they'll
we
come
doing that?
out great.
Why?
Huh?
We are not Crayola. There is no reason to do that. Crayons cost like 10 cents on
I
sale.
know, but we've done it. I did it before for like one of I think we did it for like a birthday party or something.
I
We
don't
did. We
know.
made little gingerbread crayons.
Oh,
It was fun. It
not,
was fun. It was
maybe
what
I'm
you
not
do with
into
all your
crafting.
broken crayons.
I don't know. I throw them in the trash
Gosh.
and buy cake for birthdays. We'll have cake and frozen margaritas. Throw the crayons away, buy new ones. That's the, some people are crafty. I'm like, just throw it out and buy another one. I don't know. I'm not crafty.
Well, maybe we'll have to teach you how to be just a little bit crafty.
I'm gonna try.
Maybe.
I'm gonna get a Cricut.
Oh, there you go. See, there
Yeah.
you go.
I'm gonna
Get
make some
some
t-shirts
craftiness.
though.
There you
T-shirts.
go. Get some. I'll give you a list of t-shirts. But we are getting off subject, and
Yes, we are.
we
So we
need.
gotta go.
Yes, we
Okay.
are. So we are done, right? Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and make sure you listen to us when we go on our rampages, right? those are the
Yeah.
most fun conversations that we have. Who cares about the rest of it?
Right.
So
All
we
right.
will see you next time. And I hope everybody has a great transition into the graduation season because graduation season is coming up. Everybody will be graduating. And again, if you have any comments, leave them, like, share, subscribe, follow, all
The
the
bell
things.
thing.
And we will see you next time.
Yes. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.